Hi there, I'm Jen Ferguson with Artistic Painting Studio, and today's project is going to be transforming a little hip flask. So come join me for this fun project. Okay, I'm super excited about this project. Who wouldn't be? We're going to transform a hip flask, you guys, okay? So I found these on Amazon, and the link will be in the description, you guys. They are a stainless steel flask, and it already came in black because you guys know I really do like a black base for a lot of my projects. What I have discovered, though, is I'm staying off the top section here and the hinge and lid and just leaving that black. I figured most any foil is going to probably still look good with a little black showing, so that's just my go-to, okay? So the first thing that we will need to do is get this prepped, but I want to show you my little contraption here on how I hang these up to dry. So I have a hanger and I have what are called binder clips, okay? Because they really do have a lot of strength and they'll fit on the top of there, okay? So that you can hang these to dry, because once you get foil adhesive on there, I'm going to put foil adhesive everywhere that I want to transfer. This is just the easiest way to find a place to hold onto them so they can dry, okay? Okay, prep, you guys. We're going to use 91% isopropyl alcohol to clean the surface. I usually just either spray it directly onto the project or spray it on a paper towel first, okay? And basically I'm going to try to hold on to the lid so that I can keep my hands off the tumbler, or not, sorry, the tumbler. I'm so used to doing tumblers, off the flask, okay? So I'm just wanting to clean it. Make sure there's nothing on here that could cause a resist. You can see how it just evaporates so quickly that you can go forward. Okay, so once you have it clean, let's try to keep our hands off of all the area that we're planning on foiling. Because just with the oils off your hands, you can transfer that back on. It could cause a possible resist. Our next step is going to be applying our Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive. And I'm just going to grab a clean brush, if we can find one here. And then I'm going to take some of the adhesive out of my big container and put it onto what I call a sticky plate. I just feel it's a little bit easier to work with the material. Oops, there it goes. I knew I was eventually going to tip it over, okay? But that's okay. As long as my fingers don't touch it, we're good here, okay? So I feel it's just kind of easy to be able to remove some of that product from your brush, pick up how much you need, and then we're going to go ahead and brush it on every part of the flask that we want to foil, okay? So I'm going to do everything but the top of it and the hinge. So once you get your adhesive on the surface, you want to come back and try to straighten up and make your brush strokes as neat as possible. We love our foil adhesive, but it has one property that is not our favorite, but it's just not a self-leveling material. And we have to try to make sure our brush strokes are pretty neat. Otherwise, we might see some of that, okay? So let's turn this over and finish out the rest of this, okay? So it doesn't matter how I finally first get it on there, but once I have the adhesive on, then I try to go back and clean up all my messy brush strokes, okay? And if I can, brush it from top to bottom with a full stroke. That will be best. I'm also using an artist wash brush, which I feel does definitely lay the adhesive down pretty smooth. So you'll get a pretty smooth application. We're still going to possibly see some of the brush stroke through the foil transfer, but it's just added bonus texture. I don't think it'll take away from anything. Okay, so I'm also going to do the bottom, and this is where it gets a little tricky, is we have no place to hold on to it now other than that top piece. Okay, so again, I'm just going to come back, make sure all my brush strokes are nice and neat. And then we're going to hang it up on my little contraption so that it can completely dry. The foil adhesive is going to take no less than about 30 to 60 minutes to dry, but because we're on stainless steel, I'm going to suggest that you let this dry for no less than at least 10 to 24 hours, okay? We want to not just give it time to dry, but we want to give it time to dry and bond well to that stainless steel. So the longer you allow it to dry, it gets to a nice, hard, firm tack and will bond to that surface well for the foil transfer application. So as soon as this is ready, you guys, we will be back. Okay, our flask, I let it dry overnight. You can see that it is now shiny, okay, and that is how the foil adhesive dries. The other thing I grabbed is a piece of wax paper because our project has adhesive all over it, so the safest thing to do is to lay it on some wax paper so it doesn't get stuck to anything. Okay, so I'm going to push this aside for a second. We are going to be using our Maverick foil for this transfer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this foil for us, okay? So we don't need a ton. So I'm going to cut this wide enough to do the project, okay? And you can always just kind of measure, okay? Definitely have plenty to work with there. And then I have found working on something like the flask where it's narrow, it's easier to do like one side at a time, okay? So this is a trick that I think will definitely help you with your projects. So let me grab the flask again, or I should say slide it on over. Okay, I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to put down our foil, okay, because now we're going to have a safe surface to put it on. And I'm going to lay it down on that surface and bring it up to the sides, okay? So I'm just using my fingers to just kind of bring it up there. And then I'm going to use my other piece and I'm going to lay that down. And there's a little bit of a curve to it, so I probably should have laid that into the middle first, okay? Because I'm having to like stretch it to get it down there. But now we basically have only two seams, okay? They're just going to be at the edge. And then I'll just flip it over to the bottom so that we get full coverage on there as well. So now we're going to grab our handy scrub brush, and let's use the bigger side. And if you haven't done foils before, I'm just using a like a nail scrub brush. They're plastic bristles, they're stiff. I always feel the stiffer the better, and give it a really good scrub, okay? Make sure I'm doing the bottom as well. Let's flip it over and scrub the other side. Okay, and I don't really feel like we need the wax paper anymore. It's just sliding around even more. And now we get to do what I call the peel and reveal and see what this is looking like, okay? Oh my gosh, I feel like we're getting an absolutely fabulous transfer. Oh my gosh, that looks amazing, okay? I feel like the light's kind of shining on it to make it look too dark for you, but let's keep pulling it back. If we see any spot that looks like we need to maybe scrub a little bit more, I like to peel off a little bit at a time, give myself a chance to lay it right back down and scrub again if needed. Oh, gorgeous. Look at that foil. That is almost 100% coverage. That came off so well. Okay, let's check the bottom of it here. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous release. Okay, we got one little spot here on the corner. Let's get that rubbed. So the only place that we're going to have a seam is going to be right on the edges, and I don't think anybody is ever going to notice it, okay? And again, pull slow in case you decide you want to come back and scrub again. I'm going to get that one little section there, and then I'm going to pull, oops. Okay, that's just part of the foil. It's just dark right there, okay. Your fingers sometimes will work well too. And then that is it, okay? Look how gorgeous that is. Such a beautiful release. This is going to be a gorgeous flask for somebody here, okay? Okay, so once you have transferred your foil, the next thing you're going to do is you want to protect your flask. So I'm going to use our final coat in semi-gloss because this is a shiny foil, so I want to make sure I keep and preserve that beautiful sheen. And we're just going to brush on several layers. So I would suggest that you put on probably about 2 or 3 layers just to build up the durability and make sure that this will last for whoever you plan on giving it to. The final coat is meant to go on super thin, and it dries fast, so this will not take long, maybe about 15 to 20 minutes between layers. But just like putting on your foil adhesive, you're going to go ahead and brush on a full layer everywhere over the foils. And again, I can't believe how gorgeous that came out. This foil is called Maverick. And as you can see, one dip of that brush is covering that whole container, okay? So the final coat does really go a long ways. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. We'll put on 2 more layers and our flask is done. So thank you guys for joining me. This has been a really fun, quick project. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And for a full list of materials and supplies, you'll find them in the description below. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming fun tutorials. And oh my gosh, go grab your guys some Flask on Amazon and have some fun.